In this video, I'm going to explain to you why SMART goals are dead. Let's dive right in. Now, the problem with SMART goals, they don't tie the most important human fundamental that we all have. It is the power of emotion and the power of what's going on inside of us. And so SMART goals are a very left brain, logical way of setting goals, yes, but they don't tap into the right hemisphere, the creative space, the emotional space, which is what actually drives most of human behavior. And if you actually look at the scientific literature, emotions are a key driver for decision making, especially when there's a greater sense of risk. And so we need to tap into those emotional drivers in order to drive our performance higher and in order to set goals that we can truly achieve and take us to the next level in our career. SMART goals were developed in the mid-1900s. That's 1981 to be precise. Now, sorry to make some of you feel old, but that's what my kids are saying these days, the mid-1900s. And I guess the problem with SMART goals is that everybody uses them. Everybody knows them. Everybody tries to use them. Even myself, when I did my wealth mentorship certification, we went through the process of setting goals with my mentor, and I set good goals. We went through every single step of the SMART goal and we ticked them off, and they were SMART goals. Did I attain them? No. And so I needed a better way in order to set goals for myself that I could actually overachieve upon. And now that I've set them this way, I'm much happier and I'm much more fulfilled, and I'm attaining a greater level of success in my own personal life. So all I'm sharing is from personal experience. I would love you to try it and tell me what you think of this framework. And since the mid-1900s, we've learned a lot about success. We have a lot of research paper. We have a lot more companies. There's a boom in the business space, and there's a lot more businesses created every year now than there ever has been in the history of business. And so we have a lot more data to look into when it comes to what makes businesses successful and what makes businesses fail. Now, I'm just going to be talking to you from my own personal experience because I've worked with over 1,000 businesses and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. Now, in working with all of these companies, I've seen a lot of annual plans of businesses that go to the board of directors, that get approved by the board of directors. The thing that I see consistently among all of these goals is that the goals are too high and the businesses are not able to achieve those level of goals. So there is a problem with the way we set goals in 2024, and we need to change in order to do things better, more efficiently, and more effectively. And so in this video, I'm going to break down the 6 steps that I've personally used to achieve a level of success in my life. It's called RALPH. So try RALPH and let's see what you can attain in your life. RALPH is spelled R-A-L-P-H-E. RALPH. Very simple. And so let's dive right in. R stands for revenue. However, if you're not using this for business goals, you can use this in your personal life. I would just change this to results. So it's either revenue or results. If you're looking for a certain result, let's create that as part of your goal and as part of your framework. If not, let's use the one revenue. However, the most important thing is that these goals need to be outcome oriented for them to be truly effective. A stands for action, and the best way to break these down is by using I will statements. So I will do X, I will do Y. And it's really important that we break down our goals in this way because it's going to help with the other steps. L in the RALPH framework stands for leading and lagging. So we need to break our goals down into leading indicators and lagging indicators. I can't tell you how many plans I've seen approved by the board that have revenue goals, but they actually don't break it down in terms of leading indicators. Let me give you an example. A leading indicator is something like revenue. We want to produce $10 million this year. But what they don't actually do is break it down into the steps that it takes to get that $10 million a year. If you want $10 million a year, then you might need to deal with 100 clients. You might need to deal with 50. You might need to deal with 300. Who knows? But if you break your goals down into leading indicators, then essentially you can start to determine, well, how many customers would that be? How many deals would we need to do? What type of size deals would they need to be in order to attain this level of revenue? And so it's really important that we really break down our goals. And again, I'm going to cover this a little bit more in one of the future steps, but we need to really break down those goals in order for you to achieve these goals. So think of it like this. A leading indicator, and I talk a lot about sourdough baking because I love baking sourdough. The goal is I want a loaf of bread. And so the leading indicators are I need the right ingredients, they need to weigh the right amount, the recipe needs to be followed, I need to preheat the oven, I need to put it in for 25 minutes, I then need to take off the lid and bake it for another 10 minutes, etc. I'm just giving you an example so that you understand. But we can say we want the goal of bread, but in order to achieve the goal of bread, we need to be able to break down each of those steps in a simple format, in a recipe, in order to actually get the loaf of bread. So if I just keep banging people on the head and say, I want the loaf of bread, I want the loaf of bread, I want the loaf of bread, then we're not going to get the result we want. But if we have a way to be able to say, hey, did you put 200 grams of flour? Did you put 100 grams of water? Did you bake it for 25 minutes? Did you let it rest for 7 hours? For instance, then you're going to be able to figure out exactly where your goals are broken down in the process. Now, a lot of people don't actually do this, and so therefore they don't know where they are in terms of their goals, and they never get the results they want to produce because they haven't used lagging indicators. So really, really important. I can't stress that enough. P in the Ralph framework stands for period. Now, I don't mean mid 1900s or mid 1700s and Shakespearean times. No, I don't mean that at all. I mean, it has to be broken down into daily. So in the SMART goal framework, you get to choose what time bound we're looking at. But in the Ralph framework, has to be daily. We have to take our goals down and break them down into daily I will statements so that you can actually achieve your goals. Let me give you another example. You want 100 people at your event. We use the law of averages here. And so we know if we want 100 people at the event, we probably need 200 people to accept our meeting invite for the event. And so we can break that down into daily goals and say, I will invite 150 people per day to the event. I know that out of those 150 people, maybe 10 of those will accept. And so what we're looking for is, did we send the 150 invites that we said we would? Is it converting at the 10%? And I'm getting 10 to 15 people accepting every day. Now, if we were able to use that Ralph framework and break that down into small, measurable daily chunks, then essentially we'll get the 200 people in the event, no problem at all. But if you just keep saying, oh, I want 200 people at the event, and you don't really know the exact steps in order to get there and the recipe and the framework, then essentially you're not going to have those people at the event. So it's important to break it down, again, in terms of leading and lagging indicators. It's important to break it down into the I will statements in the A part of the framework so that we can actually get the results we want to drive in our business. The H in Ralph stands for heart. The emotions. This is the why behind the goal, because oftentimes we can get lost in our goals. We can deprioritize them. We could say I could have, should have, would have, but that doesn't mean we're actually going to achieve our goals. So anything in your vocabulary that's like I should, I could do this, get rid of that in your vocabulary. What you need to have is the I must or I want to, even more powerful, I want to invite 150 to 200 people every day, for instance. And that way it changes that psychology within you to not make it feel like the work is a real drag. You can have invigoration and excitement because you want to do it, and therefore at the end of the day, when you do achieve it, you can tick it off and you can feel that neurotransmitter dopamine hit that's going to make you feel good, and it's going to make you feel like you've made material progress, and it's going to fill you with positive emotion. And therefore we have to connect our goals to the heart, which is why the Ralph framework is so powerful. The other way we can look at the heart goals is what's in it for us. What do we really want to do? Me, for instance, I just booked some tickets into a circus magic experience. They call it Riverdance Cross David Copperfield. Now, I love magic and I love shows, and so I bought tickets with the last deal I did. I did a deal, and therefore I bought some tickets to the show. So when we connect those goals to our heart, it just makes the goal so much more attainable, and we can show up in a more motivated fashion. And yes, discipline is incredibly important, but if we have motivation and discipline, my gosh, we become unstoppable. The other way to break this down from a heart perspective is, what do I want to be? How do I want to show up for the people around me? What do I want to contribute to society? What do I want to contribute to the world? And so if we break down our goals at that level and they tie directly to our identity, then wow, we become absolutely powerful at chasing and achieving our goals. It is monumentally powerful. And the E in the Ralph framework stands for evidence. I can't tell you how many times I see companies set goals that's like, we're going to go to 10 million and we only did 1 million last year. It's like, hold on, where's the evidence of that? I need to see that somebody else has done this before. I need to see the evidence so that we can make sure that that's an attainable goal for you. So if somebody has done that before, then great, let's go figure out the things that they did. Let's figure out their timeline. Let's figure out their strategy. Let's figure out what marketing campaigns they did. Let's have a look at what their sales process looks like. We can do all those things if we have the evidence. Now, Some people in the comment section might be like, oh, Elon Musk is trying to send us to Mars and nobody's ever done that before. That's cool. Elon Musk is at a completely different level. He doesn't need the evidence. He creates the evidence. He does whatever he wants to do, and by God, he achieves it. So why don't you start out with this framework and actually achieve what you want to do in life? And then once you get to a certain level of success and attainment, and you've got a repeatable framework that you can use to drive success in your own life, then sure, forget the E-step, forget the evidence, and just go for glory. But if you're one of these individuals that's still coming up and you're still trying to do some new things, but they're a little bit more realistic, then use the evidence-based approach to make sure that your goals are absolutely attainable. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Now, as I've led many organizations, I've seen organizations that cripple their people with unrealistic goals, and people always feel down. They always feel that their goals are unattainable. They turn up to work frustrated. There's more drama in the workplace. And so this is what happens when we don't set evidence-based goals and we don't set goals that people can achieve. It actually impacts people's psychological well-being. And we can't be executives, we can't be leaders that do this to our people. We need to be executives that lead the way, that lead the charge, that show people that the goals are attainable so that people can turn up to work happy, more fulfilled, more joyful, because they know they're doing something that matters and they know they're doing something that they can achieve. And they might be a little bit stretched, that's fine, but we've got to be able to provide that positive psychology in the workplace so that people can feel good about what they're doing. I would love you to try the Ralph framework and let me know what you find. Again, this is just coming from personal experience. This is what's worked for me. And I'm hoping that by sharing this, you can also attain a greater level of success. I'm Oscar Chavez. Thank you so much. If you want some more information about the Ralph framework, let me know before. I can put you on a pre-order for the book Ralph Goals, which will break it down in a lot more detail. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm excited to share this type of content. Let me know if this was helpful to you, because if it is, I'll create more content like this, or let me know what else you want to know and I will develop content for you to take you to the next level, help you ascend your career, and help you drive greater success. Thank you so much. I'm Oscar Chavez. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you later.